Just 80 kilometres from downtown Auckland, there is another world. Our oldest nature reserve and most precious offshore sanctuary. Te Hauturu-o-Toi, Little Barrier Island. This is New Zealand's Ark. The waters of the Hauraki Gulf create precious isolation. It's like a moat that protects an island bursting with life. Hauturu's shoreline is the first in a rich set of habitats. The warm, wet climate brings life to every surface. The most diverse collection of reptile species in the country lives here, including the Duvosel's gecko. You walk into this bush and you quickly realize that this is primeval New Zealand. 2/3 of this is virgin forest. Some of these ancient kauri were alive to see the arrival of the first humans. This is the sound of New Zealand as it once was. Hauturu may well be our most intact ecosystem. It's home to the greatest number of threatened bird species in the country. Without Hauturu, the hihi would be extinct. You see, it had died out in the rest of the country by 1883. Now, 100 years later, the Hauturu population was used to reintroduce the hihi to other sanctuaries. Kokako have been pulled back from the brink. Now, this island is home to more than 100 pairs. The popokotia, or whitehead, are also thriving. There are many more success stories here. Hauturu is an exemplar of conservation. The island was made New Zealand's first nature reserve in 1895. Cats were eradicated in 1981 and kiore, or rats, in 2004. Since then, the chorus has grown louder and louder. Teki, or saddlebacks, were reintroduced. And guess what? They're thriving too. Kakariki populations are rebounding dramatically. And the intelligent, ever-curious kaka feasts on the bounty of the forest. This island, Hauturu, is a doomsday vault for New Zealand flora as well. Containing over 400 species of native plants, many of them endangered. It's the base of this thriving ecosystem that supports the birds. And these birds give back to the bush with their droppings. The rich humus leads to an explosion of insect life. like the weird-looking giraffe weevil. And the poisonous giant centipede. And don't forget the fungi. The wet air of the Hauraki Gulf brings the gift of rain. The parched island drinks. These stream beds provide refuge for the rare kokako. And the birds love that water too. The volcanic island rises steeply to just over 700 meters. It sweeps air upwards, condensing it into a mysterious shroud that often covers the pinnacles, creating a cloud forest. Where Tawhiowhio and southern rata rise up through the ferns and the mosses. As the sun sets, many of the most special residents are getting really active. In the breeding season, more than 1 million noisy petrels land on the island in the dark, and returning vast quantities of calcium, lime and phosphates to the soil in the form of well-digested seafood. It is the perfect feedback loop from the sea to the land. And these Cook's petrels are the principal ecosystem engineers that actually make this happen. The much smaller New Zealand storm petrel was thought to be extinct for 108 years before it was rediscovered right here on Hauturu in 2013. And then there are the giant wetapanga, one of the largest and heaviest insects in the world. They only survive thanks to Hauturu. These wonderful gentle giants have now been successfully relocated to other Hauraki Gulf islands. Both species of our only native mammal live here. Short-tailed bats descend from the canopy at night to forage on the forest floor. Watched closely by the native owl, the ruru. Oh dear. The tuatara is New Zealand's biggest reptile, the last survivor of a family of dinosaurs that is over 200 million years old. They now only exist in the wild on offshore sanctuaries like Hauturu. And even New Zealand's most iconic species, the kiwi, is well established here. But it is the kakapo that needs this place the most. With the species near extinction, this is one of the only suitable breeding sites. This is the jewel in the crown of New Zealand's conservation estate. The Little Barrier Island Supporters Trust, the iwi of Ngāti Manuhiri and the Department of Conservation have come together to create and protect one of the most important sanctuaries in the world. Visitor numbers and landings are carefully managed to prevent pest incursions and contamination. This is New Zealand as it once was. An awe-inspiring and largely untouched ecosystem. But it's also the exemplar of the new normal, the gold standard for predator-free New Zealand. And a brilliant inspiration for a new form of environmental education in New Zealand. A model for collaboration and ecological generosity. This is Little Barrier Island, Te Hauturu-o-Toi, the resting place of the wind.